Hi there, welcome to Elm Colors. I'm Erica. On today's video, we are going to be starting the color along for the month, and it is in this beautiful book, which translates to English as Tales from the Forest Kingdom. This is, of course, by Hanna Karlzon, and I love this book. I'm so excited that this is one that you guys voted for, as I have not colored in this nearly enough. So, you all voted to do a 2-page spread, and there were a couple different choices in here, but the one that I decided to do this month is this beautiful mushroom village, which I am excited to do. And since it is September, we're going to definitely be doing some fall color schemes, fall color palette. So I did kind of the same thing that I did last month, where I went online and I looked up some inspiration images, and this is what I found. So our color palette's going to be around here. It's not going to be exactly that, but similar to that. And then I found all these really cute little watercolor mushrooms and flowers and everything, and that really inspired me to get out my Inktense this month. So we're going to be doing a lot of work with Inktense, and then I'll probably come in with some polychromos pencils, since I have not used those in a color along yet, to do some of the shading. So I'm going to get all my colors pulled, and we will get started on this gorgeous page. I'll be right back with you. Okay, so I thought that we would start working on the background. And because I'm going to have all of these beautiful oranges and reds and yellows and fall colors in the front, I thought that I would do a nice turquoise color sky in the background. I have pulled 3 different pencils, 3 different Inktense pencils. I have a Hooker's Green, Green Aquamarine, and Teal Green. Now the majority of the page is going to be done with this Teal Green. And I am just going to basically go through and do an entire base coat of this teal green. And then I will probably do some of the Hooker's Green closer to the ground, and maybe a little bit of this green. Well, I don't know if I want the green aquamarine now that I'm thinking about it, because I want that to be a little bit more blue. So yeah, I think I'm going to grab, instead of the green aquamarine, I'm going to use the sea blue, and I'll have a little bit of that at the top. And that's just going to give me a little variation in the colors and the background. So yeah, I'm just going to go through. I'm going to speed this part up so that you guys don't have to sit and watch the whole thing. But it's basically, I'm just going to do the teal green on the entire background, and then I will come in and show you where I'm going to add in those other 2 colors. So I will talk to you again in a second. Okay, so now I'm going to add in this Hooker's Green. Also, I wanted to note, I did a very light layer all across the back. So you could see when I was coloring, I was holding my pencil pretty far back, and that helps me so I don't put too much pressure on my page. I like to, when I do Inktense, I like to start with a light layer, and then that way if I need to add more, I can do that, but it's super hard to take away, especially once it's dry. You can't really take it away because then it's permanent. So it's always a good idea to start with a lighter layer first. Oh, I forgot a little bit back here. Oops. Let me get that colored in really quick. I always do that when I'm coloring a page. I'll miss large sections and just kind of have to go back in later on and fix it. There, I think that's everything. Maybe. Oh, maybe down here. I'm going to do this part too. Okay. There, I think that might be it now. So, okay, I'm going to use this Hooker's Green, and this color I'm going to put closer to the ground, and this is just going to give me a little bit of a warmer tone. When you do like a background, if it's a sky, if you ever look at like a picture of like a horizon, like the horizon in a sky, like the sky. So when it nears the horizon line, there's always warmer colors right along that horizon line. And I'm not really sure. I'm sure it has something to do with the way the color comes through the atmosphere. I don't know the exact scientific terms. I just know that I've noticed that it's warmer along that horizon line. And then I typically will have like a more blue or cooler colors up at the top. Like I said, I'm sure there's some kind of scientific thing for that, but I don't really know what it is. This is just the way that I've been doing it. So sea blue, another, again, with a really light layer. I'm just going to add that to the top. I'm going to go all the way across the top so that you guys, but I will speed that up so you can see what I'm doing, but just a really light layer all the way across the top, not pushing hard. Okay, I got my water brushes. I am going to be using, kind of going back and forth between my small Pentel brush, these other, I think these are not Pentel, but they're very, I mean, because they don't have the Pentel label on them, but they're pretty similar. And then I've got these new Arteza pencils with the push button, so I thought I would try those as well. I have 2 tips on these. I haven't even attempted to use these yet, so maybe this is not the best page to do it on, but there's a fine tip and a little bit bigger tip. So we'll see how these guys do today too. All right, so I am going to do a little bit. Let's give this tiny one a try. And see if it will actually. All right, so I pushed the water through. There we go. Okay. Cap goes on the end. That's handy. Okay, I'm going to start working over in this corner. And you do want to make sure that you have some kind of paper towel or towel. This is my lovely stained towel that I've been using. And you're going to want to clean off your tip every once in a while. I also have paper underneath my pages so that I don't damage any of the pages underneath. Okay, this seems to be working pretty well. Oop, I put too much water. Okay, so that push button is pretty sensitive, so be careful when you are using that. Okay, so this is a good color. This is the color that I was hoping it would be. And yeah. Okay, so I'm just going to do this section right here live with you guys, and then I will speed color the rest, and then you guys can, you know, work on your own at home. But I just wanted to show you a little bit of how I blend these colors together. Like it kind of just does it for you pretty much, because you know, you've already colored with those 2 colors on there, and since everything's wet and watercolory, it just kind of does it for you. But I'm trying to push sort of this turquoise color into that blue color that's up at the top, so that it's not completely different color, but that it just subtly shifts into a different color, if that makes sense to you guys. And with Inktense, you do have to work pretty quickly so that it doesn't dry before you are finished working with it. Okay, so that looks good there. You know what, I'm gonna do this little section right here too, just because I don't wanna have a super big line. Like that line right there will be fine, but I don't want this line up here at the top, because then I'll have to come back in with more. Oh, that is sensitive button. But that's okay, because I need that water to really get in there, and there we go. Okay, that looks good. All right, I like that background. All right, so down here at the bottom, we're gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna push that turquoise into where I added that hooker green on top of it. And you'll just notice a slight change in color. Okay. I don't even know if you'll be able to see it, but so it's a little bit more green down here, a little bit more blue up there, but the rest part in the middle is very turquoise in tone. So, all right, I'm just going to get the rest of this background done, and then we will, I will probably have to do another layer because I can already see a little bit of the lines coming through, but that's kind of expected when you're working with Inktense on paper that is not watercolor paper. This is really good paper for it, but still, it's not watercolor paper, so you do have to kind of finagle things around. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this background, and I will talk to you guys again in a second. All right, so here we go. We've got the base layer done on that. And I'm gonna hold this up to the camera just so you can see. It is streaky. There are streaks, there are lines, and that's okay. That's what it's supposed to look like after the first layer. It's fixable and you'll be fine. So the next thing that I'm gonna do now is I'm going to grab one of my Pentel brushes, I think, and I'm going to take the teal, and I'm going to use the teal and kind of fill in areas here and there. So I'm going to take the color directly from the tip of the pencil, and I'm going to not try to make it not quite as dark. And then I just kind of fill in areas. And if it's too dark, I have to immediately wipe it off. That's why I have this towel right here. But I just kind of put that color in over top, and it creates a good like second coat kind of. So, and I'm only going to do that in areas where I think that it needs that extra coverage. Not every section is going to need it. So the other thing that will do is it'll end up, you'll have a nice variation on your background where you've got some areas with darker color, some areas with lighter color, and it just kind of depends on, you know, where you've added that extra color. And you'll also notice when I start to add in that extra layer, I try to go into an area where there would be a shadow anyway, and then I move the color outward from there just so that it, you know, if it ends up being a little darker than I wanted, then I've got that, that like shadow created where it would be created a shadow so that it doesn't look like there's just like this weird random blob in the middle of the the page. Okay. And you'll notice too that I'm a pretty messy colorist when it comes to these. So I go over the lines. Yeah, I mean, if it's terrible, I'll attempt to fix it, but the majority of the time, once you get all the color on there, it just kind of blends into whatever you were trying to color. So it all usually works out in the end. Okay. All right, that's looking a little crazy, so I'm gonna blend that out a little bit more. Okay, that looks a little bit better. Let me do some of this stuff on the bottom here. And I can go a little darker over top of the green because it will still kind of show through as green. The nice thing about the Inktense is that they are not opaque. They are more translucent, so you can layer things and get different colors to show through. All right. Oop, that is a little dark. And if we work quickly, we should be able to, well, hopefully that won't look too bad. All right, I'm gonna add in these down here, and then I'm just gonna clean my brush off, blend it out. There we go. Okay, so I'm gonna do the same thing on this side, and depending on how I feel, I might add a little bit more blue at the top up there, just so we, you know, have a nice definite blue to turquoise to green kind of gradation. So I'm gonna do this side over here, and it's basically the same thing that I did over here. So I'm just gonna do the same thing on this side, and I'll speed that up so you guys can see. Okay, so there's the background. I think it looks pretty good. We might go in at the end and add in some dots maybe, or I don't know. We'll see. The grass, I think, is what we should do next. When I work with Inktense specifically, I really do like to get the backgrounds done first. I do that typically with all my pages, but with Inktense, it's just easier because then you can see what you need to fill in and all that stuff. So, for the grass, I've got 3 different greens pulled. I have Fern, Beech green, and apple green. And these are all kind of, this is like a bright green, this is like a yellowy green, and then this is kind of a, I don't know, it kind of goes with these colors in here. But I kind of wanted to do the grass so that different parts of it are lighter and different parts are darker. So I think what I'm going to do first is I'm going to take my apple green and I'm going to find the areas that I want for sure to be lighter. And it's just going to be like, you know, like spots of sun are on it, or, you know, this part of the grass is starting to turn brown because it's fall, or I don't know, something like that. So I'm just going to kind of lightly put in some color where I want those lighter bits of the grass to be. And then, yeah, and then do that kind of throughout over here. And you don't want to push hard with this light, what is this, apple green, because it gets pretty vibrant. And that's not really what I'm looking for in this grass. I don't want like super vibrant grass. I want something that's a little muted and more fall-like, if that makes sense to you guys. All right, I'm just gonna kind of do this fern green. Oh, sorry, that's what I'm using now, fern green. And I'm just kind of going around where I put that apple green and down into some of these areas down here. There's so many little cute things on this page. Yeah, so I'm just gonna go around all of these. Definitely gonna have to use a fine brush for this one. Okay. All right, and then with the beech green, anywhere where there's shadow, I'm just gonna kind of go ahead and add in a little bit of this beech green in that area so that you can kind of see, I should probably, what is that? That's the fern. Bring that fern green down in here and just add that beech right on top. Yeah, I'm just gonna, so yeah, I'm just gonna go through and add in this beech green anywhere where I think that there is a shadow. And I'm gonna speed that up so you guys can see that while I do that. I am going to actually, I'm going to zoom you guys in a little closer so you can see what I'm doing down here. And then I'll zoom you back out so you can see the whole process again. So hang on just a second. Okay, so we're going to be focusing down in this area. And I'm again using this Arteza water brush with the finer point on it. And I'm going to start in the lighter areas and work outwards. I'm going to try to move this into the corner a little bit more. Yeah, so start in the lighter areas and move into the darker. So, ooh, that is juicy. And again, have your towel handy to clean off your brush tip. Okay. So you can kind of see how I just push that color into the darker areas, and then that kind of blends that darker color into the other colors as well. Okay. I like that. And then we're just going to get in here and get some of these teeny tiny spaces colored in. I probably could have done this part with pencil, but I just felt like doing it with the Inktense. And this is, in these little areas, I've got a mixture of the beech green and the fern green. So it still has that nice, really nice yellowy green tone to it, but it's a little darker than just the fern green alone. And I don't know if I mentioned this before or not, but you can kind of see that I'm using little circular motions. And that I think I do that mostly because I don't want like big streaks across my page. I don't know, I just kind of started doing it that way, and that's how I've always done it since. You can see I pushed some of the green onto that. The leaves and the flowers, you can quickly, if you work fast, you can get a little bit of that color back off, but sometimes you just have that color on your new object, and that's okay because it's your coloring page and it's however you do it. It does not have to be perfect, it just has to be fun. Okay, I'm just going to get these other couple little areas down in this page, and then I will probably zoom you guys back out and speed color the rest, just so you can kind of see the process for the whole thing. Yeah, let me get this area right in here. So all these little bits and pieces, I'm definitely going to keep coming in here with some pencil to do those pieces, but it's nice to have that base color to work from. So and actually I see a spot right now that I want to put in some darker color. So I'm going to do that really quick. You can grab some of this beech green right from the tip of the pencil. Just add it right in the top there, because it would be nice and dark right in there. Okay, so yep, so I'm going to zoom you guys back out, and then I will speed color the rest of the grass, and I will talk to you guys again in a second. Okay, so this is what we've got so far. We've got the sky, we've got the grass. I think the other things that we're going to do today, well, the one thing for sure is we'll get, let's do this house. Yeah, we'll get this house started. And I am trying to decide, because most of the rest of the stuff on here is going to be yellows and oranges and reds and fun stuff. So I think I'm probably going to go neutral with my house. I think. So let's look at our colors here. And then again, we can refer to the color palette we pulled. I think probably this willow or the saddle, maybe the saddle brown. Let's try that one. So I'm gonna grab the saddle brown. So, change of plans. Let's go back. I wanna do like a warm gray color. Now grays in Inktense get a little tricky. However, it can be done. So I'm gonna go with that charcoal gray, which is this kind of warmer gray here. Yeah, and then maybe the Chinese ink as well. And I'm gonna do a super, super, super light coat of this. I'm also gonna bring in the white if I think that I need to tone anything down. And like, you know, like I did before, I'm gonna hold my pencil very far back, almost at the end, and just use like the edge of the pencil to get the color on. Take the Chinese ink and just along the edge of the house, the roof there, I'm going to add that in there. And also underneath stuff there. And then a little bit behind all of these lovely mushrooms and bugs and things, and then at the base. And again, this is not pressing hard, but it's a little bit darker of a color, so okay. And then let's get this door frame filled in, a little bit of that dark color in the corners. Okay, I think I'm going to stick with this Inktense or this Arteza brush. Yeah, and so I'm just going to activate the water. I'm going to try to keep my lighter areas towards the center of the house and the darker areas underneath the roof and then down at the bottom here. So I will speed that up and let you guys see. Okay, and then really quickly on the roof, I'm going to use this saddle brown because I will come back in with some color pencils and get all of the shading down on the roof there. But I'm just going to go ahead and put in this base color because it'll be way easier, way faster to get that in than try to do each individual shingle because yeah, that's not, that's not me. You'll notice that in most of my colorings, I'm like, okay, how can I get this done the quickest and still look pretty cool? Okay. And I will probably end up doing some shading on the house with like warm grays. This might actually be a Prismacolor and Polychromos because I would really like to use some French grays on there too. We shall see. But I think today, I think we're going to call it for today. Oh, let me add in, nope, that's not the right one. I need a little bit of this charcoal gray in the windowsills. Just a little. These are such cute little houses. Very excited to finish those up. Okay. All right. So that's where we're at for today. Like I said, we'll come back in for sure with some colored pencils. I think I'm going to use polychromos, but like I said, never count out the Prismacolors. And then we might use a little bit more of the Inktense on some of the mushrooms, maybe this frog, maybe the flowers. We'll see about that though. So yeah, so that is it for today. I hope you enjoyed that. Please let me know if you're coloring along. I would love to see your pages. And yeah, thanks so much for watching. And until next time, I'll see you later. Bye.